Imagine yourself as part of a grand festival choir. You're waiting for the conductor. You're standing up straight. You're standing up straight. You're taking a deep breath. You're waiting for the pitch. Hum that pitch. Everybody, even Canadians, help us. We're going to sing My Country 'Tis of Thee. Ready? Ready. Now let's ramp it up, okay? Do it again. Hum your pitch. Yes. My country 'tis of thee. That's enough. That's enough. A little different this time. My country 'tis of thee. You knew exactly what to do, didn't you? Have you ever been part of a team and you had no clue about what to do? Have you? Have you? All right, give your neighbor a high five and be seated quietly. Would you listen carefully? Unless you're hallucinating, there's no sound. There's no sound. I could move my arms all day until somebody decides to follow me, play an instrument, or sing. I am not a leader. The British conductor-composer Ralph Vaughan Williams said, music did not reveal all of its secrets to just one person. Change the word music, put in business. Change the word music, put in teamwork. Change the word music, put in leadership. The law of averages says that 3% of you will actually take the information you learn this week and do something. Will that be you?
Yes.
I'm not convinced. Will that be you?
Yes.
I have a new client. He's a preacher in a black church in L.A. I went Sunday. I learned some new things. I want to know that you feel it. Will that be you?
Yes.
We got a high bar with this group. You probably are the top 3% already. Now, Zig Ziglar says 1 in 3 people will succeed. Take a look at the person on your right. Nope, not them. Take a look at the person on your left. Not them either. Who is it?
Me.
Yes. Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson says, what lies before you and what lies behind you are tiny matters compared to what lies within you. You have an idea. How many of you believe that you're going to succeed? Let me hear from you. How many believe you're going to succeed?
Yes.
So when somebody says to you when you make your presentation, are you going to succeed? And you say, I believe so. Is that convincing?
No.
That was a trick question, sorry. Like Wayne Dyer says, believing is like a note that your mommy pins on your jacket and sends you off to school. Knowing resides in your very being. I'm going to provide you some tools and strategies for leading teams. It's based on leadership skills. If you're going to have a team, you must have a clear vision. You must have a skill as a leader. You must know where you're going. You must have confidence in your ability. You must, and you will, if you take advantage of the tools that I'm going to give you, you will know at the end of this exactly what you need to do, and you will know that you will succeed. Is that worth spending your time?
Yes.
Little Johnny had his first corporate job. This out-of-town trainer was there to motivate them and talk about excellence. And he was getting the people anxious and getting them excited. And he says, okay, I want you to call out a number from 1 to 10 that indicates how excellent you think you are. Somebody yelled 5. Somebody else yelled a 7. There's a 6. Numbers start popping like popcorn. Little Johnny's holding his desk and his face is getting red. And he's listening to people calling out numbers. And all of a sudden he yells out, I'm a 10. The room got silent. There was a snicker here and a snicker here. And he went on to say, I'm a 10 because God didn't make any junk. Do you have that confidence?
Yes.
Let's look at what we're going to talk about. I'm not here because I have succeeded every time. I've made a lot of mistakes. But the good news for you is that I'm smarter than I look. I have learned from those mistakes, and you can benefit from those mistakes. Napoleon Hill was introduced to the most important, successful people in the country by Andrew Carnegie. And what he found out is those people failed, but ultimately they succeeded. He interviewed people like Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison took 10,000 tries to invent the light bulb. He was so focused and so clear on that goal, he knew he could invent that light bulb. How many of us would have given up at 200 or at 1,000? He did not recognize failure as an option. As he put it, I found 9,999 ways that don't work. I have had the benefit of working with some amazing leaders, some amazing conductors, and I've learned something special from each one of those. My wish for you this week is to learn something special from each person in the chairs as well as the faculty. I work with as a coach, some of you know, with some real power leaders. And one thing I learned from one of these conductors was you can't stand in front of an orchestra or in front of a choir and make good music unless you are willing to be transparent, you are willing to be vulnerable as a leader. So one of these leaders said to me one day, Hugh, after this coaching call, I'm going into work with my managers. And there's some things I don't do really well. And I want your advice on how to deal with it. Well, as you know, silence is clarifying, so we let that settle. And you know, a coach doesn't tell people what to do. A coach frames a question that helps give clarity. So I said, why don't you take this to your team to solve? And he immediately replied, I can't tell them that I have weaknesses. So I let the silence be again, and I reframed the question, and I said, don't you think they already know? Next week he said, you know what? They respected what I asked them to do because I was honest with them. Leadership is about defining your gaps. Instead of saying strengths and weaknesses, you define what you do as a leader. Very specifically, what is your skill set? And then you define the areas that you don't want to spend your time doing. And there you recruit people for your team. What does a conductor have to say about leadership? Well, we're going to transfer these lessons directly over. Conductor, as you noted, sets the tempo. Now, you knew exactly what to do because I gave you very specific information in a little snapshot of time. It was nonverbal. I told you when to breathe. I told you when to start. I told you how fast we're going to sing. I told you one time it was loud, and I told you one time it was soft. You knew exactly what to do. When you go into the boardroom, you work with your team. You will set the pace for that team as a leader. It's a directly transferable skill set. We can play really boring music, or we can strive for excellence. You, as a leader, inspire high-performance teams. What I suggest to singers and to instrumentalists is every note we play is important. Every minute of rehearsal, you are rehearsing for the energy of that performance. Every team meeting you have, every planning session you have is a rehearsal for excellence. If you're going to have boring meetings, if you're going to waste time, you are setting a model for mediocrity. I doubt that you're here to be mediocre. Conductor shapes the music. The corporate leader defines the goal, where we're going. Conductor guides the ensemble. And the corporate leader understands the process. We've got an idea. We want to end up here. I'm going to guide the process because I'm leading this. Now, I didn't sing. You sang. When I'm in front of an orchestra, I don't play. They play. Does that make me any less in charge? No. I'm empowering people to do what I have asked them to do. Here's Hugh's 4 principles of leadership. Are you surprised it comes from conducting? Know the score. If you've ever seen a conductor's score, it's a long piece of paper. At the top, you got the flutes, you got the clarinets and the oboes and the bassoons and the contrabassoons. Next, you got all the brass, the trumpets, trombones, horns. Then you got percussion. It might be 10 percussion parts. If you have a choir, it's going to be there. If you have an organ, it's going to be there. If you have strings, first violin, second, viola, cello, bass, you got all of this stuff going on. And to complicate it, the clarinets, the trumpets, the English horn, the French horns, the note that's written isn't the note that's sounding. They're called transposing instruments. So if I step on the podium as a conductor and I have not fully studied the score, there's no way you can wing it. If I'm a coach in a football team, I need to know the score. I need to know what that team that we're playing has done. I need to study what we've done. I need to fully know the score. If I'm going into a team meeting, I need to fully understand the paradigm that we're in. I need to fully understand the goals. I need to have those relationships, those action plans. I need to know the score dead on. The second area is recruit the best players. Nobody wants to play on a sports team with bad people. So hang out with good people. Get the very best people you can. And then, like I said before, your processes, your meetings are a rehearsal for success. Don't waste a minute. Every single minute of your life is important. Don't waste a minute. And here's one. Value the rests. You have this great symphonic movement, and it comes down to this emphatic moment of rest. What that does, it validates the music that has preceded it, and it gives energy to what follows. How many times do we just continue working because we've got to do it? We don't spend time reflecting. We don't value that time that we have to regenerate our souls, our spirits, our minds. Are you committed to succeed?
Yes.
Are you committed to building your leadership skills?
Yes.
John got this new shotgun for Christmas. It was a gift to him. And he says, Hugh, I'm going hunting with my rifle. I said, John, that's a shotgun. I said, John, you were a track star in high school. What do you know about hunting? He says, I don't know, but I'm going to go out and get something. So he took it and loaded it up. And he called me a couple of days later and he says, Hugh, get the guys, come over, we'll have some beer and I'll tell you about hunting. I said, okay. We go over. John says, I went hunting quail. Went in the woods. Didn't find any. So I'm walking through the woods, got my trusty rifle. I said, John, that's a shotgun. He said, yeah, I was a track star in high school, you know. He says, I saw this field. And I thought, oh, there's woods over there. Maybe I can find some on the other side of the woods. So I started across the field. And I got halfway and my shoe was untied. So I put my rifle down. I said, John, it's a shotgun. And I tied my shoe. And when I was about to get up, I felt this warm air on the back of my neck. And I said, oh my. So I grabbed my shotgun. And I turned around and I pointed it, and there's 2 big eyes, a big mouth and teeth, and it's drooling. And on the other end of that was the biggest brown bear I'd ever seen in my life looking down my barrel of my rifle. I said, John, it's a shotgun. He said, I know. I cocked one of the barrels, and I pulled the trigger. I heard the loudest click I had ever heard in my life. The bear was getting nervous. Cocked the other barrel. I pulled the other trigger. Click. Oh, man. I was a track star in high school, you know. I said, yeah, John. Yeah, John. So I said, what'd you do? I said, I threw the rifle at the... I said, it's a shotgun. Yeah. I threw it at the bear and I ran across the field because I had noticed there's a tree in the middle of that field. So I was a track star, you know, in high school. So I ran, and that bear was stunned back there, but I noticed that bear's coming after me. So I had to run faster. I was a track star in high school, you know. And I'm running. I see the tree. It's coming closer. And that bear, the bear is coming closer. And I see there's a limb in that tree. So I'm going for that limb. I'm running fast. I know how to sprint. I was a track star in high school, you know. I'm running toward that tree, and I can feel that bear's breath on the back of my neck. So I'm running to the tree, and I notice, the bear's gaining. That bear's gaining. That limb on that tree, it's 20 feet in the air. Oh, no, I was a track star. I could do it. I'm pouring it on. I'm running, and I jumped. I said, well, what happened? He said, I missed. But I got it on the way back down. Can you be that excited? Can you exceed those limitations which you think you have? Can you inspire your team to be that excited? Yes, can you? Yes. Victor Hugo said there's one thing stronger than all the armies in the world, and that's an idea whose time is come. Are you ready to start on your project?
Yes.
When are you going to do it?
Yes.
Well, get out of here.